Sweet, dude, that drop bass sounds fucking heavy. Dude, let's get you some more volume, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Dude, that sounds fucking rad. Derrick, what's going on, dude?
What's going on, man?
Welcome to Defender the Riff.
Happy to be here.
The sweatiest guitar show you've ever been on,
dude,
I promise.
I feel that. It's like 100 fucking degrees out today.
Yeah, not to start off by complaining, but keeping guitars in tune and not being sweaty on camera is really difficult when it's 100 degrees. Yeah,
this thing does work. I mean, with the heat and stuff, you got to adjust it, but like, Evertune's the way to go, honestly, with that.
Yeah, you That's
play the show. It's
pretty perfect. Yeah, that's rad. You could literally like do a fly-in gig, open your case and walk on stage almost confidently, blindly with an Evertune.
Totally,
yeah,
dude.
those things are magic.
They're fucking so good.
Yeah, there's like a bit of a learning curve I find with the changing strings on them, but once you get it, yeah, it's pretty fucking smooth sailing.
Yeah. No, I used to be on Floyd Rose bridges.
Yeah.
And which is cool because it locks and tune and stuff, and I do like the whammy, but I use this a lot more now. It's just like kind of fun to like on a squeal or something.
Yeah, like who needs a Floyd Rose when you got the whammy pedal,
no, exactly.
Right?
It's like, so I kind of switched to that. It's kind of nice that it stays in tune now.
Unless you're Dime, who definitely used both a whammy pedal and a Floyd.
Yeah, you need both, right?
Yeah, just to blow all the senses at once. So you're like a perfect guest for this. You get the program right away, nailed the assignment. This show's just all about guitars, riffing, why we do this and why we love it. So I mean, I really want to get to know you as a player. I want to kind of take me back to the beginning. Those like first guitar players that blew your mind and made you want to get your own.
So like the first guy, like, and I grew up with like a bunch of like classic rock and stuff like that, just like growing up with that.
Yeah.
And then I started getting some more prog rock and kind of metal stuff. The first guy that really got like caught my eye was John Petrucci.
Wow, yeah.
His style, like I like his like alternate picking and everything he does, and just like his choice of notes and rhythm and stuff, which is cool because it's like multiple genres in one. That's why I kind of like that in a guitarist, and I took from that a lot.
Was like Dream Theater a gateway band for you?
Yeah,
like
it was.
Into the prog
and then
world?
I started getting into more heavy stuff because of that.
Right.
Like a lot of the bands that came out like in the past 10 years or so, like Tesseract was one, North Lane, like a lot of the heavier riffs. Like there's this Bloodline by North Lane. It's like that, I don't know, simple but heavy.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, and then I mean with Tala, Max and I, like he started getting me into more like nu metal stuff, honestly, and more like Slipknot and Korn, and I mean I grew up with Linkin Park, we all did, right?
Right.
But just getting into more of the heavier stuff, like we tried, with different tunings, like drop A just kind of like stayed with me.
Right.
Just trying it out, like a good example, like riffs, like just simple, like from the new album. There's we played it live today. Stomping Grounds. There's this cool little thing I do with the whammy, but it's actually just so.
I love that the new metal harmonic scrape is such a
like
move.
And then you pitch it up.
That's so sick.
So I've been doing stuff like that a lot. Like even if we'll play through some, I'll play through something after if that's cool. If it's possible to set it up with a lot of that kind of stuff in there.
Dude, it's like drop A is not even that extreme. I mean, it sounds extreme, but it's not that extreme with a 7 though, because it's realistically the guitars in standard with a 7th
Right.
string on top.
And the thing is, like, with drop tuning, so instead of just, keep this in drop A,
Yeah.
but if we want to go lower,
You got the pitchfork.
yeah. And I honestly do that in the studio, too, without tuning down. We just, like, pitch down.
So you'll use pitchfork in the studio for drop. You won't even have another guitar.
Depends how low it is.
Yeah.
Most of the time, there are layers. Like, for example, there'll be, like, something in drop A, right? But we'll have, like, an octave on, or it's even lower.
Oh,
So
sick.
it's
That's
like an
rad.
octave. It's like the bass octave.
Yeah, yeah.
So we did that for overconfidence, actually. It's like. I mean, it's a
sounds
layer,
heavy.
but yeah.
Dude,
And then
that's
without
rad.
it, obviously.
Dude, that sounds
And
rad.
then to the next song, back in A.
Yeah, I mean,
It's so convenient.
pitchfork's rad. The Digitech drop works really well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, more and more people are using it live. Like, I mean, as long as you're playing in a situation where it's loud enough that you don't hear your, acoustic strings, you're fucking set.
Oh, of
The
course.
tracking on them is super accurate.
Yeah, like live, we try to replicate what we do in the studio, having two
Yeah.
guitar players. You
Yeah.
could do that. So maybe one of us would have that octave thing on for
Yeah.
that, or depending on the song.
Yeah, that's
or a
awesome.
section. I mean, we even do this thing's kind of nuts. I mean, hold on. But here, let me put it back to. There you go. But HM2, we do throw
Classic.
that on. We got a song. There's a breakdown in a song called Murder Seed. So.
Dude, it is
Like a chainsaw.
It is
It's heavy.
so sick seeing the HM2 getting used properly on that pedal.
I know,
But
dude.
fuck
Like
yeah.
it's
the
fun.
chainsaw.
And I'm always finding places in the set to add it, even if it's like we didn't do that in the studio. I'll
Yeah.
still throw it on for something.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I love it.
Dude, I love that is a class. I mean, I'm a huge like Swedish melodic death metal guy,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
mean,
Of course.
that is the sound.
I mean, it is. It is.
yeah.
On top of all the gain plus that, I mean, it sounds nasty, bro.
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
sounds crazy.
Um,
I love that you're talking about like replicating the sound from the studio and really using the two guitar players effectively to do that. Because something I noticed with Tala, especially on the new tunes, is the layering of guitars on the record.
Right.
Even when there's something going on that should be the main focus, like a lead, for instance.
Right.
What's going on under the guitar? There's still like 2 to 3 other guitar
Dude,
layers under there.
There's times where we added, like, even for a chorus, especially for like a big chorus, like 6 to 8 guitar layers of rhythms plus leads. But just like, I mean, octaves, the normal one, maybe more like cleaner one, and then a lead. Like, just keep building. Our producer Josh is super, like, I don't know like what it is about. Every time I go there, I'm always like looking forward to just adding things, like watching it build.
Yeah,
So
I love like the stacking of guitars, and it's not just the way they're stacked; it's that it's like very thoughtful what's under it.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed that like even under a lead, like the rhythm part is fucking interesting and layered and like chonky. Like I love that you guys always really thicken it up.
Of course, yeah, that's always the goal. And honestly, like EVHs, I mean, this sounds better than the 50-watt one, but
Yes,
they get the job done.
these are
They
the
really
black.
do.
These are the stealths, right?
Yeah, these are the full ones. So.
Yeah, these are awesome. Yeah, the 100 watts where it's at.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Jumping back
Yeah.
to your story, listening to classic rock, getting into prog, joining Tala, getting into more new metal. Has it always been guitar for you? Because I know that you were doing a lot of singing in the early days.
I started out as actually, I thought I hit something. I started out as a singer.
Yeah.
And then I got into guitar playing, like probably like around the same time, like 11, 12 years old. But singing was like my passion for a while, and then I did both. Coming into Tallah, like me and Max were in another band before. It was more of a prog band called Next to None.
Okay.
And then he wanted to form something more heavy and just like new metal and just hardcore, and I was with it. I'm like, let's go. And it got me out of my comfort zone a little bit, because I'm used to being a little bit more on the proggy side of things, but it's like cool to be, experience other genres and just kind of like put it together. But
Now, when you were singing in Dark Empire and Xenophile,
Is that still on there too?
That's still on there.
Oh man. They
when
said
you-
I was from the UK.
when you were doing that shit, like, was guitar non-existent in your world, or was
No,
guitar
it
always
was.
something you were
It
doing
was.
in your bedroom?
It was always something I was doing.
Yeah.
Like I'm like a guitar player at heart, of course.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's 50-50.
Right.
It's like both. But they're both comfort comfort zone for me. On the Tallah stuff, I do a lot of background stuff in
Nice.
the studio. But I have another project called Perfect Shadows, which I sing in.
Yeah.
But it's more shreddy shit. Like, we do this cool thing. It's like kind of like a string skipping thing, and there's a rhythm over it, but like more shreddy stuff, more like, I don't know, like alternate picking. Or
Dude,
stuff like that.
it is so much sicker doing an episode of Defender of the Riff with someone after they've just played a set because you're so goddamn warmed up. It's awesome.
Bro, yeah.
That was smooth, man. That was so clean.
I appreciate that, man. Like, I'm feeling a little bit, like heat, pretty much like heat stroke at this point, but.
Dude, that was an intense. You guys give it hard too. Like, it's not easy doing that in the heat and then immediately going into the zone to do something like this.
Oh yeah, no, dude, I love playing. So anywhere, anytime, that's me, man.
I mean, it
Let's go.
shows. Well, was it a case of, singing prior to playing guitar in bands? Is it a case of finding the right moment to, like, break in with a guitar? Or
Yeah,
what was it?
like, I mean, Max comes from more like a proggy background as well, so
Yeah.
he's used to the shreddy stuff and all that. So there's the time and place for it in Tallah for sure, which is, I got some solos that I do and little leads and stuff here and there, like little tasteful things. It just fits, works.
It's, like, interesting with Tala, like, obviously talking about your influences and Max influences, like, it's obviously comes from a wide range of bands and sounds, but something really cool that you guys do, like, you kind of border that edge of, like, mathy chaos without really ever, like, diving in full head first.
Like a breakdown that's like odd time or something, like
exactly.
that kind of stuff. Yeah,
like,
I love
you mix that shit in, but, like, you never go full Dillinger on us, you know what
yeah,
I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Like,
Yeah, totally.
It's really cool. Like, how do you find that balance of, because you pull from, if I may, like, there's industrial elements, there's core elements, there's new metal elements, there's borderline math and tech elements.
Right.
How do you kind of, like, harness it all and know how to make the flavor, know how to, like, perfect the recipe, not have too much of one flavor in it kind of thing?
I think, so a lot of the time, when it comes to, like, writing stuff, Max is usually, he writes, like, he even writes the guitar riffs, like, he plays too, and it's really good. And he writes a lot of the.
So we got vocalists that play guitar and guitar players that sing vocals.
Another instrument, pretty
that's
much.
rad.
So
I love
cool
a band
to have
like that.
And then when you're in the studio, it's kind of nice because, like, I don't know, maybe he hears something that I don't, and he'll add it in, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to kind of build. So he does get technical, and it's cool. Like I said, it's tasteful, so it's not like overdone or anything.
Yeah.
But it's like finding a balance. I think that's what it's all about. Like, just finding the sound, getting developing a new sound. Like.
Yeah, I mean, like. Do you think it's like a conscious thing where you're like, hey, that's too much of this or too much of that? Or do you just kind of
really?
It's just like what feels right?
Yeah, we'll try things. Even if we don't like it, we'll scratch it. But even, like, you don't know unless you try it, That's the whole thing. So.
I mean, experimentation's everything, right?
Of course, yeah.
The minute you get too comfortable, you start to get bored, and then what's the fucking point?
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
So aside from being a wicked shredder and clearly having, the musical side on lock, looks like you're a bit of a gearhead, man. You know about amps. You pointed out this amp right away.
VHs, I'm like...
Yeah, like I do. I wouldn't call
like,
you over and have some subpar shit for you. We only have good backline for you.
I saw in the distance, I'm like, oh, you got full stacks in there? Oh,
hell
shit.
yeah, baby.
Let's go.
Dude, we're doing it right. But I see you showed up with a pretty large pedal board for what we're doing here. You've got a sick-ass Schecter here. Kind of take me through your rig and, like, your take on gear stuff.
So the board kind of built slowly. Over time, like, I started out with, like, an Axe FX or, like, just an amp model.
Full digital, yeah.
Pretty much full digital. Sold that. I wanted to kind of go back into... I like the real thing. There's nothing better than plug into an amp and actually, like...
Hot tubes and analog pedals,
exactly.
man. That's my shit.
Exactly. So, I went backwards pretty much. I started out with digital, but then I went backwards to analog stuff.
Yeah.
Started getting new pedals. The first pedal I ever got, actually, was this guy, Horizon Devices Precision Drive, and honestly, it's always on. I don't think I ever turn it off. And it just tightens up the tone, but it gates it a little bit, so it doesn't like you get a lot of bleed too. So if it's like a high gain channel, it does really well with it.
That's awesome.
But it's definitely part of my tone, that for sure. And then obviously the whammy pedal, that's a huge thing. Max kind of got me on that because there's something we had in the studio we were trying out, and I had to get one because of it. Yeah, exactly. That was like something we experimented with. We're like, whammy pedal, let's try it. Okay.
Yeah.
And we did that on the first album and second album too, and probably forever, like continue, yeah. So yeah, that's the board. There's a tuner, there's a pitchfork. HM2, we did that in the studio, so that's a new addition.
The Wazelcraft HM2 as well. It must. The good shit. The good shit.
Yeah, totally. I do have another gate just in case. Sometimes the amps a little loud, and I just kind of,
Yeah, for sure.
This one, I use it as a delay for like, I don't know, leads, like a telescope. We got the. So it's like in front of the amp, kind of breaks up.
Yeah.
It's not like the traditional, effects loop kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So which is kind of cool. Like I got there's guys that I was in the prog scene that do it, like Steven Wilson from Porcupine Trees, like really big on doing that, like putting the delays and reverbs in the front of the amp, which is something I kind of stick with. It works for this genre a lot, like in like choruses or whatever. I do have an Ottawa. I don't use it all the time. I might switch it out to something better. But
how's the Ottawa work? I never even tried that shit.
It is what it is. I don't always use it just because it doesn't really. Let's see if it works. So it has like a little bit. It's got a little bit of.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, right? Like for a lead or a solo, I'll throw it on maybe.
Yeah, it gives it some texture, gives it a little bit of flavor, for sure.
And I mean, it's pretty basic, actually. Like, I want to expand and do more things eventually. As far as the guitar, this is, so I am with Schecter, sponsored by Schecter, and this guitar really stood out, mainly because of the Evertune, but I mean, it looks beautiful. I mean, like the inlays, everything.
The inlays are nuts.
Yeah,
man. The numerals are sick.
Too. I really like what they did.
Yeah, sexy headstock.
And it's got
Look at this top too. The two-piece top's gorgeous. Yeah.
It used to be a little darker, but because of the shows from festivals and stuff, being out in the sun, it like brightened up a lot.
Sick. All right, natural patina. Let's go.
It does actually. I do use this sometimes. It's got a
full pot.
Yeah, and actually, there's one riff in the song called "A Hard Reset" where we actually put that on live. Sometimes I put it on. It's fast switch, so sometimes just play it. But there's this really, it's a kind of like a thrashy riff, but it's super. It's like super fast.
Sick. Yeah,
but
that's
it adds like a crunchiness to it.
Yeah,
just
man.
Normal, like. It's kind of nice.
Dude, that's right. Yeah, that changes it completely. That's an awesome pull pot. Love that shit.
But also, the pickups, they had lunge-in pickups in there, which are great. I do prefer DiMarzios, so I did switch these out with some...
Is that like an X2N?
No, these are DiMarzios. What are they? Petrucci pickups.
Okay.
I can't remember, but they sound good.
Yeah, that's rad.
But yeah, so that's the only, like, thing I did that's different. Other than that, it's pretty much stock.
That's a pretty, dude, I think it's like kind of getting me right now is your band is very modern sounding and a lot of like new school principles, but you've really rolled up with a very old school kind of rig. Like we're talking about like carbon copies,
like
HM2s.
I said, I went backwards. I used to be all digital, but I'm like, fuck that. Let's change it
really,
up.
Man, you've really gone backwards. I love that shit. Like you're like fully embracing like old school tone mentality with like a new school riffing.
Like I know a lot of bands don't have cabs anymore, which is like I'll play without it if I needed to.
Sure.
But there's nothing, sometimes just going up to the amp, hearing that feedback on stage is just like
nothing.
Can't really do it with the monitors. I don't know.
Dude, nothing beats it. Listen, I'm all about embracing technology when it comes to tone and amp development, but there's something about looking back at those glowing tubes and walking up to it and getting that feedback. Like
I totally get it.
And you got to feel the boom on stage. And for the first couple rows too, if they're like right under that PA, they can't hear shit. We need stage volume.
Right, I agree with that.
Yeah,
totally.
dude.
Stage volume, it's good to have it. I used to not use it, and I started using it. I don't think I could go back, to be honest.
Even if people are using modelers, that's cool. Like, you want to rock a quad Cortex? Fuck yeah,
I do like
rule.
those quad Cortexes
But put it through a cab. Please, put it through a cab.
I totally would.
Yeah, totally, man. You got to get it to act like that. But dude, it's fucking rad. You are an insanely awesome player, and you have a great understanding of sound and dynamics. It's been fucking rad talking to you, man.
Dude, you too, man. Appreciate it.
I think you should just take us out with a fucking nasty lick. Like, remember those Bet You Can't Play This Guitar World things? Like, give me something nasty. You're all warmed up. Melt some faces. Let's go.
Let's go. We'll do. Let me think.
Derrick fucking Schneider, my dude, that was awesome,
Yo,
man.
thanks so much,
Thank
man.
you so much for hanging with us on
Yeah,
Defender of the Riff, dude.
Totally. Love
awesome,
it.
brother.